Hi guys, Sean here from digiDirect. Now today we're going to be going through the Nikon KeyMission lineup of cameras. Now this is a lineup of kind of action cam style cameras that Nikon came out with around November 2016. What I've found from talking to customers in store is that some people are a little bit confused as to the differences between the three models in the lineup. So I thought I'd make this video to go through the differences so that if you're in the market for one of these types of cameras, you can know the strengths and weaknesses of each one and decide which one is best for you. Now there are three cameras in this lineup. There's the KeyMission 360, 170, and 80. The numbers in the name actually refer to the field of view that each camera has. So the KeyMission 360 has a 360-degree field of view, so it's a 360 camera, which is a little bit unique. The 170 has a 170-degree field of view, which is kind of like your GoPro wide angle. And then the 80 has a more traditional 80-degree field of view. Now, there are a lot of similarities between these cameras, but there are a number of important differences. The most obvious one being the form factor. They all have a very distinct form factor. We'll discuss all of those different points here, but let's start with the KeyMission 360. So being a 360-degree camera, the KeyMission 360 is definitely the most unique of the KeyMission lineup. It's certainly the one that's gotten the most attention so far. And the way it works is it actually has two lenses, one on either side of the camera. When it takes a photo or video, it's going to take the image from each lens and stitch it together in camera. In terms of build quality, the 360 is definitely the nicest build out of the three KeyMission products. It does come with this nice little silicone jacket as well. It is waterproof to 30 meters, which is 100 feet, shockproof to 2 meters, dustproof, freeze-proof to minus 10 degrees Celsius, so a fairly rugged camera. In terms of operation, it's really quite simple. There's only two buttons on the whole camera. You got a button to take photos and a button to take videos. Now these buttons double as power on and off, and also to start it pairing with your mobile device, depending on how long you hold the buttons. On the side here we have the waterproof port, which when you open it up, you've got access to the USB, HDMI ports, the slot for the micro SD card, and your battery. Now this is a removable Nikon EN-EL12 battery, so you can have a bunch of them and swap them out as you need. Each battery is rated for about an hour and 10 minutes worth of video on the KeyMission 360. And on the bottom here, we've got a standard 1/4-20 tripod mount. This is very useful. It will allow you to mount the KeyMission 360 anywhere that you might mount a regular, more traditional camera. So each of the two lenses on the KeyMission 360 is a 20 megapixel f2 lens. So when you've got that stitched together, that allows you to take 30 megapixel 360-degree photos, which is actually a lot higher resolution than you might expect from a camera of this size, or 4K video at up to 24 frames per second. The 360-degree high-resolution stills are actually quite nice. You can display them in a variety of ways, either flat, or you can do a couple like little world or big world type wraps with them as well. In terms of video, while 360-degree video is fairly new, but Facebook and YouTube both do accept 360-degree video, so you can upload your 360-degree video to both of those platforms. When people are watching those videos, they can use their mouse, or if they're on their phone, they can move around and pan around to see what field of view basically they want to see. Now, the videos that I'm showing you here, they're not like that. They're flattened. And the reason for that is there's not yet a way, at least on YouTube or Facebook, to intersperse 360-degree video that people can operate and move with non-360 video, like this video of me talking right here. But if you're uploading just 360, you can do it straight up to YouTube or Facebook. The KeyMission also has a couple different video features like video loop, time-lapse, fast motion, and so on. Now the last thing that I'll say about the KeyMission 360 is something I'm sure you've noticed, that it does not actually have a screen. Most of the body is taken up by both its dual lenses there. Now, like most action cams though, you can connect the KeyMission 360 via Bluetooth and Wi-Fi to your mobile device. Nikon has their SnapBridge app, which lets you see what the camera sees, adjust some settings, and so on. I'll say though, this is actually not as necessary as it might be on some other action cameras, because being a 360 camera, you know that it's going to capture everything all the way around it. So most of the footage that you see here that I've shot with the 360, I was not connected to the app at the time of shooting. Now, of course, if you want to be a little bit more precise and so on, definitely you can go that route, but it's not necessary. Okay, so now let's move on to the KeyMission 170. This one's a little bit more traditional than the 360. In fact, we can see here that physically it quite resembles a GoPro, and that's indeed a good analogy for it. It's a kind of GoPro style action camera. It's got a 170-degree field of view with an 8 megapixel f2.8 lens. It can shoot at 4K up to 24 frames per second. It is also waterproof. This one's waterproof to 10 meters, which is about 30 feet. Shockproof to 1.5 meters, dustproof, and freeze-proof to negative 10 degrees Celsius. It has those two big signature photo and video buttons that we saw on the KeyMission 360, but notably the 170 does have a screen on the back, which is useful because, not being a 360 camera, what we're actually fitting in the frame is a bit more important than on a 360. So that's very handy to have. We got a couple controls on the back as well to dive into our menus and adjust settings and so on. The KeyMission 170 can shoot single or continuous still photos, and it has a variety of video features similar to what we saw on the 360, video loop, time lapse, and what Nikon calls super lapse, which is kind of sped up motion. One somewhat unusual feature on the KeyMission 170 that I quite like is the ability to switch between regular speed shooting and slow-mo on the fly while you're recording. All you have to do when you're in this mode is press the down button on the back and you'll toggle between regular speed and slow-mo shooting. So in this video clip here, I'm shooting at regular speed and it'll kick into slow-mo here. I didn't do this in my editor, I simply pressed down on the back button there and it kicked into slow-mo, which is very nice. It saves you a bit of work and it's kind of cool. Similarly, you can do it in reverse and you can kick it from slow-mo back to regular speed. Now the KeyMission 170 does come with this little nifty wireless remote, which lets you remotely operate the camera. Like all the KeyMission cameras, you can connect the KeyMission 170 to your phone via the Nikon SnapBridge app. Between the screen on the back of the KeyMission 170 and the wireless remote that it comes with, I didn't find the need to do this too often, but perhaps if the camera is somewhere out of reach and you want to see what it can see, or if you want to transfer photos from the camera to your phone, you can certainly do it this way. Now finally, let's touch on the KeyMission 80. Now this one again has a unique form factor compared to the other in the KeyMission lineup. This one to me almost looks a little bit like a small handheld audio recorder, but it's very slim, flat profile, it's quite light, it's easy to slide in and out of your pocket, and that's definitely one of the main strengths of this camera. It's a fairly basic camera function and feature-wise, but its simplicity, ease of operation, and just its speed of use is definitely its main strength that we'll see here. Now the KeyMission 80 has actually two cameras, one on the front and one on the back. The front one is a 12 megapixel f2 camera and the one on the back is a 5 megapixel f2.2 camera. Like the other KeyMission cameras, the KeyMission 80 is waterproof, although this one's only waterproof to 1 meter, so you want to be careful not to take it too deep. It's shockproof to 1.5 meters, dustproof, and freeze-proof to -10 like the other cameras as well. Now in terms of operability and physical controls, the KeyMission 80 is very simple. There's only 3 physical controls on the camera. We've got this toggle switch on the side which will just switch between photos and videos. We've got a button on the back here which will take a photo or video depending on what mode you're in. And finally the menu button on the side here. Now we see this large screen on the back and it is actually a touch screen. It's the only KeyMission with a touch screen, and that's important because there's no actual menu navigation control on the KeyMission 80. You're going to be navigating the menus via the touch screen. Luckily the touch icons are very large, easy to navigate. There's not a ton of them, and I say that as a positive comment that there's not a ton of menu options. You know, on a big, expensive, high-end DSLR, maybe you want tons of menu options to customize all this kind of stuff. For a camera like the KeyMission 80, which is really intended to be a quick, easy-to-use camera, you want stuff to be streamlined and simple, and they do a good job here. You're not going to spend a lot of time jumping around the menus. You can just use it to shoot with it and not worry about too much fine detail, which is a very good thing for this type of camera. Now the KeyMission 80 has a couple basic but important photo modes like panorama, for example. It does have electronic vibration reduction, which is good to have, although it can be a touch aggressive at times, so just be careful about that. Now in terms of battery, the battery for the KeyMission 80 is built in. It's not removable, so you're not going to be able to bring a couple spare batteries and swap them out as the battery dies. Once the battery dies, you're going to have to plug it in before you can use it again. So that's just something to bear in mind if you're thinking of bringing the KeyMission 80 on a kind of a longer shooting excursion. So we can see that the KeyMission lineup has a lot of similarities throughout the 3 cameras, but there are a number of distinct differences as well. In terms of similarities, they're all small, rugged action cam style cameras that have a fairly simplistic approach to control, which again, I would argue is a positive point for this type of camera. They're easy to use. Now the 360 is definitely the one that you'll want to look at if you're looking to shoot 360-degree photos or video. The 170 is the one that you'll look at if you're looking for a GoPro style camera. And the 80 is a small camera that will be good if you're looking for something that focuses on speed, ease of use, and portability. Hopefully that's been instructive in terms of the differences between the 3, and now if you're in the market for one of these, you can kind of know which one might be right for you. You can order the KeyMission lineup on our website at www.digidirect.com.au, or you can come to one of our stores, have a play with them, see what you think. We've got stores in the Sydney CBD, Bondi Junction, Miranda, Chatswood, the Brisbane and Melbourne CBD, and a new one in Cannington, Western Australia. Thanks guys, take care.